Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. We are talking about goal setting, and this is the best place to start because resolutions by this time must have been made. As in that it has to be a continuous process. It really doesn't have to be beginning of year. You can always set your goals quarterly, or whenever you feel that whatever you had put in place no longer serves you and you need to go ahead and do something else. So, yes, so today's session is about goal setting and action planning. And as you can see from the screen, that is our slide number one. And I just thought of giving that brief introduction. Why now and not another time? Yes, so that is it. We really don't need to wait for the beginning of year for you to make effective goals. So let me use this workbook that I created because it's going to help us reflect on our past and look at the future. For example, you would be able to review what worked last year and what did not work, and you'll be able to get clarity on what to do way forward. Right. So this moves beyond the vague New Year resolutions that fade by February. Yes, today's 20th of January. So yes, if yours has not faded by now, that means perhaps you would have set your goals properly. This structured approach helps you identify what truly matters and to audit your current reality. For example, if I set myself goals last year of achieving this much, so how far did I go, or where did I feel that I fell short? So that will give us clarity for future. All right. So it also does give us transaction from abstract dreaming to creating concrete doing. So we will define clear, measurable goals and establish a step by step on how to achieve them. Not using the SMART framework. I know SMART framework has been used, and by now you know by heart what the SMART framework is all about. So in this masterclass today, we are not going to talk about the SMART, but I'm going to share with you what I have used and has been working for me. All right. So in part one, we visualize our reality in the future and holding on to the faith of what we are seeing and taking actionable items, or rather taking action to see that these goals are coming to accomplishment. So how do we do that? I'm going to show you in a few. All right. So the current state, I know that most of us set our goals only in terms of business or in terms of career advancement, but you don't look at goals holistically, and therefore a person's goals or resolutions become vague and therefore not really availing much by end of the year. So in this I have changed, or rather I have put into three fragments. One of them is career, the other one is health and finance. Well, health is very important because finance and career will not do well if you do not have good health. So, in your career, if you are to review 2025, how would you rate your professional satisfaction? Why are you growing from what you did in 2024? Or right now, here and now, How is your career or professional satisfaction? Are you growing? Are you being challenged? Or you are now on autopilot? And when a person gets to an autopilot, that is a manifestation of a person who is stuck and they really need to get out of that state. Of course, that's not the class for today, because I usually teach a lot to the people who are feeling stuck in their careers and they would like to advance. Excuse me. Okay. So on health, evaluate your physical, mental well-being. Is your energy, as I said, and that your energy, is it where it needs to be or misaligned? Another part of current state audit is about your financial stability and growth. Are you on track for freedom, or you are running from the rat race from paycheck to paycheck? Are you close to the freedom, financial freedom in this case? So there's a quote that a goal without a plan is just a wish. And wishful thinking, we all know that it doesn't get us anywhere. Most of the time, wishful thinking is someday goals, or what really is, it's not really very valuable when you just have a wish. And I don't know what wish means to you, but for me, it reminds me where you are told, maybe you're blowing a candle on your birthday and then you're told to make a wish. So I really don't know, who are you making the wish to? Is it a prayer? Because if it's a prayer, then that's different. It's not a wish list per se, it is a faith wish. So that's the difference between a wish or a prayer. A prayer definitely is something that is going come to pass because there is faith involved in it. And where faith is involved, there's energy and there is a lot of action taking. If with no action, as the Bible says, is dead. Now we're moving on a financial state, checking on our health state and our cash state. So I am introducing to you a new framework called C.L.E.A.R, and this framework really is much better because it has a lot of expanded. There is emotional part of it which is missing in the SMART framework, and the SMART framework is so short term. So if you're really planning for long-term goals for your health, for example, you cannot subject your health for 5 years. No, it has to be a long life. No, I mean, yes, and almost your entire life you need to plan to live healthy. Then another part is financial goals. You cannot just close financial goals if you do not have great financial habits that will sustain what you have accumulated in terms of wealth, or in terms of how much you have. So, and another part is the career. What are you doing? Is that it? Is it a stepping stone, or you are in your dream career? So that is how this clear framework is going to help us. So, all right. So this is what the framework is really all about. It's defining our goals with a metric, with a definition, and then your question on what to do to see that you are defining your goals as per what you really desire to be. So, one, in the clear framework, and obviously the word clear in itself speaks more of clarity. Do you have clarity on what you're doing, or are you just doing it for the sake of doing, or you have plans on how to make that happen? So, metric number one is collaborative. This encourages teamwork. Who can I work with to achieve this? How does this help the team if you are a team leader? And the collaborative nature in it part is you can use an accountability partner to help you. So that is where accountability partner also falls in the collaborative aspect. You can have a coach to hold you accountable for your goals that you have set. You can have inner circle kind of accountability partner who is going to help you so that you can achieve goals. So whatever goals, whether it is health goals, whether it's financial goals, whether it is spiritual goals, or the career advancement goals, you need a partner. Yes, there is a wise saying that says if you really want to go far, go with people. You can still go alone and still achieve the results you want, but it will take twice as much time as it would have taken you if you had involved a person to help you go through that. Okay, the other part of the C.L.E.A.R framework is limited. That means it is limited in scope and in duration. That is, when does this start and end? What is the exact boundaries? So in this part, we're talking about the boundaries much more than compared to the duration. For example, if you're achieving, you want to live a healthier life or you want to be fit. So by when and what, have it in mind. How does a fit person look like? Then you can work backwards to see how far can I do that. So limited in scope means don't have goals that are so vague. It's not so clear on where it is headed, but it needs to be have that clarity. Okay, so it's not necessarily to start and end depending on what it is. If it's financial, as I said earlier, then that is a lifelong commitment. And in career, yes, when does it end? For example, if I want to get a particular role, from what period, for how long do I want to hold this role, when do I want to move to the next? So that is the limitation you're talking about. But of course, having an open mind is best when you're setting your goals. The other part is emotional, and this is a part that is lacking in other frameworks that I have encountered because it does not connect to the core values of a person. That's the missing part in the other frameworks that I know of. Then, when you get emotionally involved in something, that means you'll be looking at, let's take an example of, again, having a fit body or mental or health. For example, is it mental health or is it your physical well-being? And of course, your whole body holistically requires that wellness for it to perform at optimum. So if you're looking at that, you would be able to imagine or visualize, how does this exercise today help me in my achieving my health goals? All right, and how do I feel when I am healthy? How does a healthy body look and feel for me? You see, the moment you employ the emotional aspect, the taking action will be much better than just not getting emotionally involved. For example, why am I passionate about this? Why am I really passionate about my career growth? Why am I passionate about community outreach, for example? Why am I passionate about getting financial freedom? Why am I passionate about anything? How does achieving all these goals that I'm setting for myself make me feel? Do I feel tired? Do I feel energetic? Do I feel fulfilled? Do I feel actualized? Because that is where the emotional aspect comes in, right? Part The part A of C.L.E.A.R framework is appreciable. Appreciable in this case needs to be broken down into small acts so that it is easy for you to take action. By the way, one big of something without small actionable steps becomes overwhelming. And then that is the number one reason why resolutions fail in the first place, because you just looking at this healthy person. I want to weigh 60 kg, maybe you are 70 or you are 80 at the moment. But then if you do not break down, like now, if I want to weigh 70 and I am 60 right now, that means I need to lose 10 kilograms or 10 kgs. So if I need to lose 10 kg, how many do I need to lose in this period of time? If you break them down into small actionable steps, then you can be able to make the steps that you need. So, and also another goal is maybe you want to read, to become a reader. You want to read books. You want to restore the reading culture maybe that you've left, or the reading that you exposed to was the mandatory ones, not because you want. So maybe the reasonable step for you to do is to do 15 minutes of reading on every day. So that is an easy way you can track that. So that is an example on the metric appreciable. The next one is refinable. Refinable, this is the part where your goals should be flexible and adaptable. If circumstances change, what happens? Do you give up? For example, if in the morning you plan you're hitting the gym and then it rains, what happens? Yes. Would you miss your would you miss your training because it rained in the morning? No. You would see how you can get back on track. So the rule is, if you fall short in whatever you have planned, you do not make it continuous. For example, if you cannot have 2 consecutive days without following that. But this is where the flexibility comes in. When you're able enough to adjust, that is how you will pivot. Say only one day is allowed, the next day I must do that which I was doing. Another part is, if you're reading a book and you fall short in one day, and make sure that the next day you follow. But then that means your goals, as we've put it as refinable, needs to be very flexible and adaptable, and not so rigid that it makes you give up midway. All right, so we go to the next part, which is visualizing success. Visualizing success. Right. So in this moment, I invite you to take a moment to describe what success looks like for you in a time. So, for example, what I've put here is 1 year. So you can put 6 months, you can put 2 years, but be detailed. Be detailed in your visualizing your success. And then you could take yourself on a journey in your mind. Imagine it has already happened. And then how does that workspace that you're in look like if you've put that vision into your mind? How do you feel when you wake up? Who is with you? This vision will serve as an anchor when motivation wanes. Yeah, for example, what I have put there. You can see a laptop, you can see a tablet, you can see a phone. So whatever you've put there, how does it look like? Does it have too many things the way that one looks like when you visualize it? Or is it looking neat and not cluttered? How does it look like? Do you feel tired when you wake up and you don't want to continue with what you're doing? Mhm. This vision, which most of the people put it in their vision board, which is another class altogether, which I am happy to teach in the next time. But this will give you the motivation that this is where I'm going. I'm not yet there, but this is where I would like to reach. So in this case, you make sure that you remain anchored in what you intend to do. All right, so that you can put that vision, that success picture that you have in your mind in your phone as a screensaver, or save it in somewhere that will always be available for you to refer to whenever you feel like you are off track. Okay, Then part three is accountability. Part three is accountability. And so, what is accountability? Accountability is having someone to help you to move or to do the things you have planned without failing on a daily basis. An example, you can have an accountability partner. I do have an accountability partner. Not one though, it depends on what partners in your careers, in your health, in your financial goals. So those kind of accountability partners are who are going to help in moving. So let's see. So mapping key milestones. For example, if I have written in my vision board, how did I structure it for this month, the next month, the 6th month, and then 1 year. So in this framework that I've put, I've just created it for 1 year. So and it is breaking down to look at it to the framework of C.L.E.A.R. So if you go back, you would see what is appreciable, meaning broken down into plan, structure, and research. So that would give you, yes, I want to achieve this in my have I researched that industry that I want to go in, or I'm just there? Yeah, so this is a plan, you plan structure. Do I know anyone in that industry? How many people can help me in moving to that particular industry? Or who is a mentor that can help me in that part? So that is what you do in month one. So definitely, if I put month one in planning and structure, that means in between there, in month three, I should be able to have a draft of what has been happening and documenting that, or having something that is able to represent what I'm working on. And that's what we call it prototype in the product managing language, or in design thinking language. That's prototyping. All right. So at 6 months, I need to look back and say, what what strategy did I employ and where am I? So that it helps you in the next part. And then year one. So it is now the final launch and scaling up. That is if you are doing a business. The final launch of my career or my changed self, then I will continue in that part. All right. So let's see what happens in the next one. So it's very important for you to map your key milestones so that you are in and you don't miss what you had intended to do. So this part we are referring back to the accountability partners. So there are accountability rules also that you need to be there and what you do. So it is important for you to plan very well and have great accountability partners to help you. Then, so rule number one is weekly check ins has to happen. And on that, you have to be specific. Don't just say weekly check in. So you have to set a specific time. For example, Sunday, 8 p.m. to review progress. It doesn't need to be Sunday for you. Yes, so you just put what works for you. If it is every Tuesday or it is every week, then that would be good for you. Then you find a mentor or a peer to goals with. Yes, so that is part of the accountability rules. Partner up with someone. Just tell them I am working on this goal. Would you please help me to stay accountable? Then that way, or to stay on track. then that person would be able to ask you when you have your check-ins. And if it's a friendly accountability partner, they would be able to ask. So when you're just normal chats, and ask you, say, last time we talked about this, how is it going? And that way you'd be able to stay on track. Most people do not progress because they are doing everything themselves, and most of the time they tend to forget, or they give up midway because nobody is helping them to stay on track or to take action or supporting them when they need. And rule number three is that we always need to celebrate our wins. We always need to celebrate our wins. All right. Okay, then that is it for now. And this is a workbook that can help you in your goal settings, so that you in your goal setting, sorry, so that you can move steadily and faster rather than just working with vague um, resolutions or vague goals that does not make you advance. So if you're ready to start, do let me know. I am happy to help you. And if you want me to hold you accountable for your own goals, then why not? That way, I would invite you into my classes that I usually run for this purpose. Maybe we can meet on the times that we agree, that I can help you stay accountable. Yes, so if you're interested in being held accountable for your weekly tracking of your progress, then I am happy to help you with that. So I will put the contact on the description notes of this so that you can be able to reach out to me. So that's it for today. And let me know. Let's meet in our next conversation, which is up to you to decide when. Thank you very much and do have a good evening.